Good. Welcome everyone to our first sales meeting that is not hosted by Jeff and Shelia. The purpose of this meeting is to have more fun selling good stuff, feel better about selling good stuff, to be more effective with selling good stuff to people, and to close more deals, to heal blocks that prevent you from selling good stuff to people more efficiently, and to get a feel for what it means to be a good salesperson, to have a clear understanding on what we are doing here, because this is something very new. This is a new kind of sales that we are introducing here to the world. And this is something that I've been working on for myself the last few days, is that I ask myself, what does it mean to sell? What am I actually doing here? I know that I want to support this movement, and I know that we have something really, really good for people. And it's life-changing, transformative, exquisite. I know that this is so, and I know that what I'm offering here is really good. And I know that people benefit from this. And we are benefiting from this as well. So everyone wins here. And the only question is, how do we deliver the value to the people? How can we make them see what we are seeing already? I think this is a bridge that we are offering them. We are the bridge to Jeff and Shelia's work. Because we already know the value of this work, and we have experienced it on our own journey. We have experienced the results of this work firsthand. So we know it's really good, and we know that it's good for people, but they don't know yet. This is why we are selling stuff. Now, there's a difference between marketing and sales, because as a VP of marketing, I also make sure that people buy our stuff, but this is a very specific point in marketing that we are addressing in this meeting here. It's having a conversation with someone who wants to buy your stuff, our stuff. And this is a skill that you can learn. This is a skill that you can attain and that you can get better with. Selling is like your harmonious twin flame union. It's something you can attain. And when you see yourself separate from this perfect sales woman or salesman, then this is where you need to work on, because in truth you are a perfect salesperson. And you can always deepen your skills and stuff like that. But what I'm pointing towards here are two main things, and it is the inner work that you are doing when selling stuff. And there's also some things that you want to, really have ingrained when it comes to your outer game. And I know these terms from my pickup artist times. There was always like inner game and outer game. Outer game means to know what you are saying, to have a certain idea on how you convey the value of our product to the people. And you will probably realize that when you have had like 1,000 free consultations with people, that specific dialogues always repeat themselves. There's a pattern you will realize. And especially when you look into the sales and that they're successful, you will realize, here I did this thing and this worked. And here I did it as well. And here I did it as well. So there are certain success factors. And these we want to identify here. So we can use them for ourselves and adapt them, because what works for Jason doesn't necessarily work for me. But underlying are the same principles, and it is the principle of loving the prospect, the client. And you are learning how to love them in a quite short amount of time. And you are learning to build trust with them in a very short amount of time. And I think it's a really a funny idea to have this like stranger, and you have 20 minutes to become their best friend, you know, besides their twin flame and God and stuff. And like sell them on something that changes their life completely. This is something that I really want to master for myself. And I know we have people in here that are really experienced with selling stuff. And I'm still learning it personally, but I made the choice to, oh man, I want to be perfect at this. Because this is it's like a universal skill that we are learning here. When you can build trust with this person, when you can convey your value and the value of this work to this person in this way, then you can do it with any person, especially your twin flame. Good. So I know that we all have certain questions and sticking points that we brought to this meeting. And I know that God has a perfect plan for this meeting. And we want to keep it short, like maybe under 60 minutes, but I'm also giving it to God. I have no idea what He has planned for us. But I felt into this meeting, and there are a few practicalities that I want to address, and that Diana wanted to address. And there's one thing on the agenda that Jeff gave us, and this one we are going to address as well. But let's first talk about the sticking points here that we are facing at the moment and quickly dissolve them. And I think I'm the perfect example here and role model to go through them, because it feels like I have a lot of them. You know, I see myself here where I have these 3 consoles and feeling a little bit insecure before these calls and not really sure how to say things and how to convey the value. But I also know that this is not really me. I know that I'm quite confident in what I'm doing, and I can choose to be this way, you know. So limiting belief is selling bad. The first thing I really want to dissolve here is selling bad. No, it isn't. It's really divine. It's in itself a neutral vessel, like a lot of things. But we have a divine intention behind what we are doing here. You know, you are offering a gateway to heaven. This is what it is. I've sold insurances before. Felt really awful. Now I'm selling good stuff, feels really good. And I can feel good about using my creative intelligence to make them buy things. And I can feel good about it because it's not manipulating them, it's helping them to make the right choice. And this is your role as a salesperson, to help your client, your prospect, to make the right choice. Because you know the right choice for them. The right choice is to buy a TFAS and LPC subscription. They don't know yet. Maybe they do. Their heart knows. Good. So selling is good, and you can allow yourself to feel good about selling this thing here. So Why don't you make the choice right now to feel good about what you are doing here? This is like an eternal choice. You make it now and it's there forever. You won't ever have to feel bad again from now on when it comes to setting stuff. Good. So you are giving something of value to people. You don't need something from them. And this is the next limiting belief, is this feeling of neediness. I'm needy because I need their okay. I need their permission. I need something from them. I need their money. And this is big in sales. A lot of people have to work through this one. And I see a lot of salespeople that are needy. They, I think they need to have this specific outcome and result of the free consultation. And if they don't, they failed. But I think this is something we all learned on our twin flame journey, is external results are not what you want to measure here. It's again, the only measurement lies within. And it's, did I love myself and my client to the best of my abilities? Yes or no? If yes, perfect. Continue. If no, it's okay. And why didn't I do it? What's my sticking point? And my sticking points were this kind of neediness and the feeling of, oh, I'm not doing something divine here, but I am. And I'm giving them something of extreme value. And there's no need to be needy there. I don't really need something from them. It's just an invitation. And this is a nice reframing that you can do in your mind, that, oh, I'm extending my arm towards them and I want to guide them to, heaven. And I make it very easy for them, as easy as possible, to make this choice, to grab my hand. I make it as easy as possible. And yeah, good. This one feels healed. You are complete on your own, even if they don't accept the hand. But you can, in retrospective, ask yourself and analyze why they didn't grab your hand and follow your invitation. And this is a process that you go through. You are addressing what is in front of you right now, and you are working through the upset or the obstacle or the challenge that is in front of you right now. And we are going through this as a collective here and individually as well. And what I really would recommend you here is to do inner work on the free consults that you are giving and on selling stuff. And what I do is, after each free consultation, is that I write down how I feel about it. I write down what feels really good about it, and I write down what didn't feel good about it. And I write down my sticking point, and I analyze my sticking point. And this process makes me a master, inevitably, because I work on it, on these things. And I recognize my pattern and I dissolve them. And I can't do this for you. You have to do it on your own.
I just want to interject here and say how important that is, because if you don't do your inner work with each consult you're given, you're going to attract the same kind of consults forever.
Mm-hmm. And this is something I've learned from Jeff and Shalia's live stream, where they play video games. Jeff said to Shalia, hey Shalia, We are going to experience the same bullshit, the same game over and over again until we dissolve this upset. And this was like an enlightening moment for me, like, oh, yeah, right. You're going to face the same bullshit again until you dissolve it, and then you go deeper into love. And the same thing is true with your free consoles. And I recognize this pattern that I attract people that don't have money. Like I had my last 5 consoles, like couldn't even afford the book, you know. And yeah, so this is kind of obvious that I attract these kind of people, and this is something that I need to address and work through. So Jeff helped me and said, hey Fabian, why don't you make a choice to attract people that are ready to buy? So I did. And as long as I get these same people and prospects and clients, I keep loving myself there. I keep going through the root of the upset until it's completely dissolved. And I get the next level of free consoles. And they are going to be juicier than the ones before. And so I work my way through these layers, and ultimately I'm going to have people throwing their money at me. Like, please, Fabian, please, I want to have the all-class pass for me, my family, all of them, and we're going to pay the whole thing up in front. You know, this is where we are headed. And yeah, this is something that you earn yourself, you know, and this is when you are really mastered, then this is what you can expect. But along the way, you're going to learn to also give the best in situations that aren't as easy as these I just described. And you will be able to get the most of each situation. When I understood Jeff correctly, it is that when you make the choice to attract people that are ready to buy and really choose it from your heart, then it's really possible, and there will be an opening in each free consultation to close them on a deal. On the spot, like right here, right now, you're going to seal the deal. And there's this rule that I follow myself. It's always be closing, ABC, always be closing. Very popular rule in sales. Learned this in my pickup artist time, yeah. Closing means here to get the phone number. You feel really shitty if you didn't even ask. If you didn't, you know, quote unquote, try to sell them on the subscription, doesn't feel good. Give your best and like push them towards the subscription as much as possible in a good way, you know. And this is the way that your comfort zone expands, that you grow and deepen your experience, because otherwise you're going to attract the same consultation over and over again if you don't follow up on these openings that are going to be there. Good. So we dissolved some limiting beliefs. We introduced us to how you can have perfect consultations and the process of getting there. Hope this is clear on a very meta level, how to do it, you know. And I think we're going to be able to go into the specifics a little bit more. But first of all, I wanted to check in with Deanna, because Deanna might have some practicalities or things to address as well. So if there are some things on your mind here, Deanna, please let us know.
Yeah, hi everybody. So I just did like a quick calculation, and we've had 10 conversions out of 68 consults, which is 15%. And most of them happened, well, like 9 of the 10 happened since the sales webinar. So this is really promising. It just, and these weekly sales meetings, I think we're just going to keep seeing bigger and bigger percentages of our leads closing. So that's good. Mm-hmm. I thought it'd be interesting to talk to the people who did close their leads to just get a little bit of feedback on how the consult went and if they have any insights to share with us.
Absolutely, brilliant idea. Before we do it, I would like to ask you, Diana, where do you see the sticking points? Where, because you have like the overview.
Yeah.
What do we need to work on? What do you think?
Well, at first, the sticking points were not even hearing back at all. This was like a weird amount. We're not even responding. And since the sales webinar, it's really changed because I've been making sure to reach out to them immediately and tell them why I paired them with the coach that I did. I think coaches are reaching out a lot faster. But lately, since the sales webinar, the sticking points have been not having enough money. That's like whenever someone doesn't close a deal, that seems to be the issue, is they don't have enough money, or they will have enough money later.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So tomorrow, next month. Yeah. So I'm not really sure how we can change that,
Yeah, we change it through dissolving it within, right?
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
And we already made the choice to attract people that are ready to buy, because there's no point in attracting people that aren't ready to buy yet.
Right.
And this is not the purpose of free consultations, to help people build a stable financial foundation,
Right.
This is not what we have. This is not what we can offer here. They need to have this stable foundation first, and then they are ready to have the free consultation, really. This is like the entry level, this is a requirement that they need to match us a little bit. We can't, help the homeless people here in the free consultations. Right. This is not what they are for. And so
I think, just making the fact that we're all making that choice together collectively to only attract people who are ready, I think that's going to be really helpful moving forward.
Yeah. Good. And the free consultations are not free consultations in the sense that, hey, let me give you 20 minutes of my time and help you through some upsets and never see you again. Then, no, it's you give them a piece, you give them a taste of the juice of this work, and then you sell them a subscription. And this is for their benefit and your benefit and our benefit. Because they don't have anything sustainably out of the free consultation if they're never going to see you again or this work. Right? I see Sneaky Jeff here. Oh my God.
What did you say?
I see someone here. It's called Sneaky Jeff, and he looks just like Jeff.
Sneaky Jeff.
This is too funny, man.
That's hilarious. The only other note I had was that Sama had a really promising lead, and it was a really good consultation, but the consultation, like the person was driving as they were having the consultation, and their like baby was in the back of the car. Mm-hmm. And like I think it'd be really good when you're reaching out to set up a time with these leads to make sure that, to remind them that this is a very important thing, and to make sure they're choosing a time when they can completely focus and relax and they don't have any distractions. Hi, Jeff.
It is Jeff.
What was that?
I'm muting some people here. Hope it's better now. Good.
Yeah, so that was my only other note, was when you reach out to set up the time with people, let them know that this is an important time, and they make sure it's a very comfortable time for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think what this is reflecting, or was reflecting, is that you weren't really invested into the free consultation energetically. And so you see this in a like flaky prospect, where they aren't really committed to the free consultation because you weren't.
The only thing I'd say with that though is like, so being a mom, you gotta be able to meet your client where they're at with that and work with it. So just because her kid's there and it's crying and stuff like that, there's a point where you can kind of, I think you can still work with it. And that's the craft, right? Is being able to adapt to that situation instead of seeing it as a negative, or like, because I get it, right? It is definitely distracting. The kid's there and you're sort of feeling
She was also driving. So
Yeah.
I was like, Samba was like, she really wanted to sign up, but like, she wasn't going to like pull over to the side of the road to do it,
Well, maybe that was the thing though, is like, because remember Jeff said in the call when we did that role play thing, it was like, hey, if someone's driving, like, hey, just pull over for a second. So, and he said that, and I was like, that's kind of a bold thing to say to someone, but if you build the relationship with someone, they will pull over for you, but it's your energy and how you approach what's going on, and you can almost put it in, on you, I think, where it's like, I'm feeling really like overwhelmed. Like, would this be easier if we just like, can we just pull over for a second and kind of just like take a breath? Like, it looks like you're really stressed out or you've got a lot going on. Like, would you like to take a mom moment and just like pull into a parking lot and kind of like, let's just do a quick meditation.
Yeah, it's a reminder that this 20 or 30 minutes is like a super special time just for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, because the moms will be tempted, like exactly like that. They're going to try to pile in all this stuff, which is part of what they're going to work through with TFAS. But Jeff made a bold statement with it. And I was kind of like, he's not wrong. Because when you really build rapport with someone, they will do whatever. They'll trust you so much. They will stop whatever they're doing, and they will see the value in what you're telling them and know that what you're offering them is going to give them the peace, and they'll do it. They'll pull over. It's a bold place to step into, to ask for that level of relationship so quickly into a meeting. But what Jeff's saying is that it can be done. And I would agree with him. He wasn't wrong.
Hey, can I say something here?
Yeah, he's driving.
No, you're muted.
Yeah.
Sorry, hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Jeff.
Okay, great. Okay, Shalea's trying to find me right now. I'm in the parking lot. I have just 1 minute to share this quick little story. First of all, really cool that this is happening. Bravo to all of you for doing this. Reiterate on what Jen was saying. I feel so nervous now. Look at.
Now you're muted again.
Jeff, what are you doing?
I gotta go get her. Anyway, Jen's right. I gotta go. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Jeff.
The only reason that so this is the thing. I think sometimes as salespeople, right, we feel like if we're bold.
Why is this still happening? I thought I closed this.
Can I interject here?
Yeah.
This was Sama's consult.
Yeah.
Jeff's still making noises.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey everyone. So the thing with this consult wasn't that she was driving, because she actually did pull over as soon as we started the session. But it was, and we actually did the mirror exercise and it was fine, and the baby was calm until the very end while I was pitching TFAS to her. And she had already decided to join even before the consultation. So that's kind of, while you were speaking, Fabienne, I was writing down my pattern with my consultations, and it was basically that I'm attracting consults who have already decided to subscribe. They already want to go all in, but they're just resistant to take the final step. And that has been the pattern for my ones. So this one, it was like, she already wanted to join. She was just resistant to take the final step. And then her baby started crying. And then she was like, you know, I want to check out the free classes first and see if I've got enough money in my account to then make the purchase. And then she's also going to bring a friend in as well. So yeah, that was what I also realized as you were speaking in the beginning, was that the pattern of the consults that I've been attracting is exactly mirroring my relationship with my twin flame. So it's literally, you know, they want to commit, they want to go all in, but they are resistant to take the final step, which is exactly where I'm at as well. So yeah, I thought that would be helpful because I had that realization just to
awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing this, because now we can feel even better about what we are doing here in the free consultations and selling people subscriptions, since this is comparable to doing inner work on your, like, towards your twin flame journey, towards your harmonious union. It's like really beneficial, you know, because it's a relationship with consciousness that you are having there. And as we know, it's all one and the same thing, right? Good. And you bring up another important point, that is last minute resistance. And this is a huge thing. And this is the thing I feel so insecure about in my free consultations. It's okay. Here I am, live student from TFAS. You know, most of the people that I had the consultation with already knew me from the open forum, and you know, we're really happy about having this consultation. And I gave them this nice nugget, and they felt really good, and they are hungry for more naturally, because now they finally have access to the real thing, right? And then there's this transitioning thing. It's like, okay, I gave you the nugget, and now I want to have you commit to our relationships that we have here. And this is my sticking point at the moment, to have this a little bit like smoother, you know, to have this, like with more. I think confidence is the ingredient here, to having this perfect transition from here is the nugget. This was the nugget. You want more of the nugget, and you can have more of the nugget. I know you want more of the nugget. Here's how you can have more of the nugget. Doesn't it sound good? And let me help you or guide you through accessing the nugget for yourself now, right? And so I make a new choice here. I choose to be confident in guiding them to actually subscribing with me. And this might be the last minute resistance. At least it was the last minute resistance for me that I could feel. It was my own insecurity where I felt, oh my God, it's even somewhat challenging to just say the word, now click on the subscribe now button. You know, I don't know where this is coming from, but I felt some resistance there. I think it's because it's finalizing things in a way. And it's this click of the button, subscribe now, is changing their life. Literally, completely. This little click of a button. Because how can you not have your life completely transformed when you have access to this work? So this little button click. This is a piece that I get now. It's like, for me, it's confidence, to have the confidence and to knowing that this is perfect for them. And, you know, it's good to click on that button. And I'm not trying to hide the fact that this is like a sales process. And I'm not trying to hide the fact that they are buying something right now. And I'm not hiding the fact that I want them to buy something now. I'm not trying to hide the fact that this is kind of a sales conversation. So I'm very, honest in what I'm doing, because this is ultimately for them. And I have pure divine intentions here.
That's a really good point. There's no reason to like hide it or be ashamed that that's exactly what's going on. And if they ask you like, oh, is this just to get me to buy? You can say, yeah, but this is why. Like, there's no point in, like Fabian said, it's for their benefit. We're not selling them something that's like crappy or like not going to live up to its potential. Like, it's going to go above and beyond their wildest expectations. So you can just be confident that, yeah, I am selling you this, but this is what I'm selling you.
Right, perfect. And before we go into the success stories of this week, I would like to mention that, yes, I've learned selling things on the street, not drugs, but these were kind of like things for Amnesty International, for example. In certain cities, there are people from Amnesty International that talk to people that are walking around there and try to sell them, a subscription there for like $10 a month or something like that. So I already did this, and there was always this sales pitch that you learn and just repeat. And one thing struck out to me in these sales pitches. I've actually worked for a few different companies in this way. And there was always a so-called power sentence to close them on the deal. And in my consciousness, I'm looking for the right way to seal them on the deal with the TFAS subscription. Now let's imagine you gave them the nugget, they feel good. And you made clear that they want their harmonious union. And you made clear that you know the path. And this, what you are offering here, is the path, right? And that they can easily access the path. And so you guide them through the website and have a look there. And then you are on the sales page where it says subscribe now. Like, what do you say? What do you tell them? Do you just say, no, make your dreams come true and click subscribe now? Or, I don't know. Does someone here have any insights on this or any experience on how to have this last little step?
I think if Anna and Katrina could talk now, they've closed three leads. Mm-hmm. If they could share their wisdom, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think Katrina is listening here with a phone. I'm not sure if she is still there. Katrina, if you're still there, say something. But there were other people that unmuted themselves as well.
Yeah, I made a list of closing sentences before I started my consult. I made a list of all kinds of things because I reviewed all my high-end sales training information and practice and made a list of some things. And one of the things was that I made some closing sentences that I could use. I could just look them up because they're right here and maybe send a suggestion. But I think the best suggestion is the one that you feel like saying, right? Because then it sounds, because only then it sounds convincing. And another tip is that like normal high-end sales information tells us that people need to hear the closing question 6 to 8 times. But we can do that in one time, but just so you know that you have to always ask the question.
Hey, so this is Katrina. You guys were asking me to talk, and I had to change over to the internet. To do that, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So we would love to share some of our experience about closing and what worked. And I do have a lot of sales background knowledge and things to be said. However, I think something that Petra was saying is really true, that, you know, you have to feel your way into it, because what I've recognized is that this isn't like a normal kind of sale. You know, people, I think what I've recognized among the people that I've talked to is what I'm qualifying is not only, you know, if somebody's ready to buy TFAS and if somebody is ready for their harmonious union, but if they're really ready to commit to themselves on a deeper level of support, and to be able to connect with, you know, whatever their pain points are. Everybody has their own individual story. And what I've noticed is when I've talked to somebody about all of the investment that they've tried to make in themselves in the past, especially with healing work or spiritual work, what the result has been. And there's, you know, I had, like, for example, I had one person come to me. She'd been doing a lot of healing work on her own, and she actually didn't even come through the consult form. She just found one of our YouTube videos and came and said, I want to get involved in the community. And she wasn't even a member of the open forum, but that let me know, you know, that she was really looking for connection and other people to support her and be in a support group. And so that's the first thing that I do on a call, is I find out where that person's pain point is that Twin Flame Ascension School is the answer to. And it's very specific. I mean, obviously everybody wants their harmonious union with their twin flame, and that's why they came to the consult form in a general way. But there's something more individual and personal there that is, you know, that you can speak to. And it's kind of like doing the mirror exercise. Honestly, you're just finding that place where they're upset because they don't have that thing that they want, and you're helping show them how this is the answer to that. And so the closing statements that I've used are different. I just find out, like, what you're ready for, and say it back to them. You know, it's sort of like you just repeat back to them what they say to you. Kind of, Jeff has modeled this a little bit. I don't know if he did this in the webinar. I think he did, where he showed how you just ask the question and you let them answer, and then you repeat their answer back to them and you make them feel heard. And that's what I do. But at the same time, I'm really listening to them in my heart as well, and feeling into what they're feeling and helping them recognize what they're feeling. And in the process of doing that, I can help them recognize that they're ready to make that choice to bring in that support that answers their specific pain point. So if it's, for example, the girl who was wanting community, I just worked into her pain point by talking to her about what it feels like to try and do it alone, and how difficult that has been, and letting her express herself, and, you know, do the mirror exercise with that upset, and then say, well, it looks like you're ready to be a part of a genuine spiritual community that genuinely loves you and wants to support you, and wants to value your contribution too. And she's like, yes, that's exactly what I want. And I'm like, okay, well, this is the way. Click here, you know. And you know, and it works because you're speaking to them into their hearts in that direct place. And that also is the way to build the relationship and to show the value, because you're actually doing the work at the same time. So I think that's really the answer here, is making the sales consult basically model the mirror exercise, and you're forming your own, and that forms your relationship with them, and it shows the value. And the times that I didn't do that because I had something going on, like there was one, and the guy really wanted it. He had the money, he was ready, and I had an upset because I was talking to an Australian guy, and I had an upset come up because I had done some business in the past with Australian men, and it like encountered a lot of misogyny, and kind of, I did some research on international business with that, and I found out that you know, women typically aren't, you know, it was just in like the literature that I researched, like misogyny was there. And I had that in my consciousness. And I went on the call with him and I was like, it was coming up and I was like, oh, I'm expecting him not to buy from me because I'm a woman. And he didn't. He went and bought from somebody else in Australia and bought some other product and did that. And so I learned there. But every time that I've used the model that I described to connect with someone and help see where their block is to buying, by recognizing that, you know, they have what they desire, that TFAS is the answer to, is possible, and that, you know, once we get the block out of the way, then they're going to buy. And, you know, Anne did one of our, I've done all of our consults except for one, and Anne did that one, and she did the same thing. She doesn't have a sales background or anything at all, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, you just do the mirror exercise, and your goal is to reach the place where they buy. That's their upset, is they haven't bought it yet, and you just assume that you're going to work through that block and they're going to buy it, and she did. And so I don't know how much that answers on a practical level, but hopefully a lot. I'll shut up now. I think somebody else probably has some things to share about.
That was all amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bobby, and I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. I was muted. Thanks so much for this ultra valuable nugget. Yeah, really cool. And I think this was the missing piece in my consciousness. Like, yeah, I know on a meta level how to do it, but now how can I connect to them? You know, and this is the thing, that find out what they need, what they desire. Some come to you, they want to resolve this upset with their twin flame. We have the answer. Some people come to you that you know, are sick and tired of being financially frustrated. We have the answer as well for this one. And some people come to you looking for a divine community, or to have a you know, peaceful mind. And you're going to find it out. So your free consultation, and so doing mirror exercise with them, for example. And then you can use this as a, you know, as a sales tactic to close them on whatever they desire. And like Katrina said, for example, oh yeah, sounds like you are ready to join a divine community now. And then they say yes. And then you say, God, let's do it.
Yeah, I wanted to add maybe like a success I could say that I had, that I sold.
Mm-hmm.
I closed someone that never like heard of Twin Flames Universe in principle, and also wasn't into twin flames, and I only said the word twin flame right before we actually subscribed, and it was already pretty clear that it was just sold.
That is awesome. Cool. So yeah, I would like to hear one or two success stories of this week, and there were, I think, two in particular where you sold like the all-class pass completely, not monthly rates, but completely.
I've got one with my lady with Sandra from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
She so it was one of those things that I think I added it, like when Jeff brought this up in the sales meeting about really kind of like walking him through it. Like that was something I've kind of added into, because part of me was sort of like, why do you have to walk someone through this? Like they should know if they, you know, like click on the buy button. They probably do it for countless garbage that they don't really need. Mm-hmm. So I was a little like, I don't want to do that. You know, they should be able to do that on their own. But then it kind of was like it made a lot of sense in dealing with like any kind of client, right? So this gal that came to me, her husband had passed and she was older, but she was so sweet. And I was like, well, I can help walk you through this, you know? So we kind of started, so then she had to go to her bank and get money out of this and deposit it here. And then she got back to me, we reconnected, and then she had to call her bank and increase her withdrawal limit. There were a couple of different pieces to it. So like every time I sort of just treated her like, you know, like my grandma or something, and was like, hey, if you need help, like, okay, that's a hurdle. Like, okay, well, call me when you get done with that. And then we'll finish this up. So I just made it very kind of casual. with it and let her know like, hey, I'm here with you and we'll just keep working through this. And it was actually really like very little effort. I mean, each person, I think, they're gonna be different that you're working with. Like if someone I think was trying to do that with me, it would probably repel me a little bit, but that's me. So it's kind of saying like the people that you get, like it's trying to read what they need, and seeing if they want that level of intimacy and support with someone. And she did, and it worked. And so it wasn't really a big deal, because I think even if you're having a frustration with someone, and you can't close them right away, resist the desire to get discouraged and recognize like you can always come back to that thing at a later time. So if you can't clear that block right when they're doing it, you've at least established a rapport and you can follow up with them maybe when you've worked through that block. And then you might be able to have the sale with them later. Because Jeff had said something to me a couple of weeks ago. He's like, people actually get pissed at you when you don't close them initially. And I was like, yeah, no, you're right. Because I used to do that, I think, with people. It was like, go ahead and try to sell me on something. And if they couldn't do it, I was kind of annoyed. But this is kind of a different product because it's so valuable. But if you can't work through the block with them, you can always follow up with them too. Work through that block with them, whatever that was. And then you can always follow up and see, are they in a different place because you're in a different place?
Yeah, two or three of you like close the deal like a week later, like after the initial consultation.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's okay too. Like, it's just all refining the process. The book, The 1 Minute Salesman, it's like 100 pages. I read it like years ago, but it's really good. So that it kind of lays out some guidelines on approaching the sales process, and it's good. So if anybody feels like they don't have any kind of basic guideline on how to do it, or they want a refinement of that, it's a really good book that teaches you kind of how to adjust a mindset and working with people, because it is building a relationship. And I think if you have blocks to intimacy, you might have a little bit of an issue, or feel like you have an issue with sales. If anybody wants to practice any of their sales pitches or role play stuff with me, I'm more than happy, because I can put you through the ringer and test you. Because like there's like I feel like I'm used to interacting with people that are more like Jeff, where like they can see what you're trying to do when you're trying to do it. So it's almost like harder people are sometimes easier for me to work with. Whereas like easier people, like Sandra, she was just so nice. It was almost like, wow, this is just easy. So if you need help working with anybody that's a little like stronger or something and emotional, I mean, I can help you role play that too. So
yeah, Jen is our top salesperson by a mile.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks.
That's the, and I don't know, I think now we're referring everybody to the consults, because it used to be I would just go grab people that were in other forums. So the fishing people on the meme teams, that's kind of what you're doing. You fish and you grab people, because Jeff had asked me where I was getting people, and I was like, I'm just reaching out to people and messaging them. But you have to just watch your energy on that, because I was feeling kind of, I've noticed that I was sort of getting like a little bit discouraged, I think, with some of it. And then it sort of made me not want to provide that level of kind of hand carry to people. So I had to go back and kind of re-engage that a little bit. So,
Thank you. I would like to, emphasize a few points that I, heard you talking about. One thing is that you love the people where they were calling for to be loved. Like you love them where they wanted to be loved, And it is okay that selling a subscription is really easy. And the one that I sold in a free consultation was so easy, really, like so easy in a way. It felt so easy. And this is okay, it doesn't need to be difficult or challenging. And another thing you said is that when they say no, it really means not now, but maybe later. It's a nice reframing. If they say no, also when your twin flame says no, it just means not now. I have this upset here. I really want to, but maybe later. And make sure that you love where there is an opening, but don't waste your energy. Don't try to love where there is no opening. Good. Do we have any other person here that is part of a success story?
Elle closed one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to talk about, so I've had a couple people that are like ready to subscribe, but it's usually like, they'll just be like, you know, I want to look at it, or I'm getting paid on Friday. And I've really been kind of approaching it as, you know, this isn't like a rejection so much as like I'm building a relationship here. And so I'll check in with them, follow up with them, remind them of the deal that I have. And it worked for one, and I am pretty sure I'm closing another one today. So like, that's a reminder, like if they don't, if they, you know, if they're getting paid in a couple days, or if they want to look at it, it is a big investment and you are building that relationship. So like, you know, to like take the stress off of that situation there, like I think was helpful for me in that situation. So I don't know if that helps at all, but it is like you're building a relationship, you know, you can talk to them, you know, and it's kind of like you're building a coaching client essentially. So even if they're not ready like right away, they might be ready in a you know, in a week or a month, or you know, further down the line, hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, we're basically showing them that there's a community here, and that's like what I took away from it. But I think part of it is I had been attracting clients who weren't quite ready, so that's something that I need to clear up with inner work. But yeah.
Awesome. So how did you get the stress out, or how did you remove the stress out of the situation that was there before?
Yeah, so while I was on the call, I had it come up. So I worked in a diamond shop briefly, and there was a lot of like really douchey sales shit that went on there. And so that really came up for me while I was on the call. So, you know, she was talking about what was going on, and I was mirroring it and doing my inner work while I was on the call with her, and just like, you know, healing my upset around feeling like I was a douchey salesperson kind of was what I noticed came up for me. And then a fear that I was being manipulative, because that was something that was really kind of, I felt I had some kind of connection or some kind of block to sales being manipulative, and it's not. We're just pointing them in the right direction and helping them.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Yeah,
Good.
thank you.
I think we are slowly wrapping up this week's sales meeting. Yeah, I want to say that it's not only Elle or Jen that are a success. You know, we are all a success, and we are all awesome. And what we are doing is extremely divine and loving. And you know, so honor yourself and pat yourself on the shoulder. You know, it's good. Good, what you're doing is really good.
Yeah, everyone's doing a wonderful job, and getting leads forwarded to you is not the only way to get referrals. You can get them at any time. Maybe, does anyone have any questions or issues they want to talk about?
Yeah, my issue is it takes me a little bit too long. So, and I also see that that's a little bit me, but I convert.
It feels like you dance around the swimming pool instead of jumping right in. Right? You know, some point I'm gonna jump into the swimming pool, and I can already see the swimming pool, and I know that I want to swim, but you know, I'm just dancing around it.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Oh, thank you. That helped quite a lot. Yeah, I just saw it in my like inner vision. That's like a general topic of me.
This is the last minute resistance that we were talking about.
Yeah, but it's my resistance, because I even now recognized in this sales meetup that I even could have like clients that they only want to sign up. That's all they want. And then I am hesitant, not them. Okay, so that's funny. It could become more efficient, because what I do is effective, but it could be more efficient.
Yeah, and it's realizing that you don't need to control the speed of whatever is happening. You can really let God control this thing here, right?
Right. Yeah, that's correct. That's what I fear. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's this opening, go for it, and be really brave and courageous and go for it. And you don't need to oversell them here if they are already ready to buy. You can go ahead when this chapter is complete, and you can move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Good. Anything else?
Yeah, well, maybe I can still add, but it's a little bit about the dancing. I think it's just all the same that I saw that when I was successful, I was in a way so pleased that I, besides other pressing TFAS work that needed to be done within 10 minutes, I sort of almost forgot to message Dee because I was so lost in my own emotions about my success. So that also feels to me like I'm dancing around stuff and I need to be more direct.
Yeah, and realize that you are loved in this community, and recognize yourself here. This is something that I felt now. You are really loved in this community. You are a part of this community, and there's unconditional love for you here.
Wow, that makes me want to cry. Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys mind if I add a little something else to
Please.
the conversation that I wanted to say earlier was, and it was related back to some of the healing work we did in the intro where we talked about, making the choice that we're attracting clients who want to subscribe and are ready to buy. And something that I noticed for myself that I worked through this week was that there was a bigger picture. I was getting a little tired with the consults and feeling like just a little loss of an interest in it. And then I realized that it was because, the consults for me are part of a bigger picture of attracting long-term clients and long-term students for me. And that was really important for me to, go into that on an intentional level and think about what kind of clients I'm attracting for a long-term relationship with myself, because the consult form is geared for that. If you read it, and I went back and read it in detail again, and I realized this entire thing is written to the person. If the person just comes to the form and hasn't read anything else at all, they only read the form, then what they're reading is, by filling out this form, I'm signing up to get a personal coach. And it doesn't say on there, I'm signing up for a sales call to join a subscription service. They're really expecting a relationship, a one-on-one relationship with somebody. And, so I was thinking about that, and I just think that's really valuable to consider that, maybe if you're just interested in selling subscriptions and you're not taking private clients at this time, that it might behoove you to, partner with somebody who is taking private clients and be able to help that person that you're closing in the subscription connect with somebody on a personal level, because, that's something that, I see people that come into the subscription, they get into the meetup, but I've had a lot of people come into the meetup that don't feel comfortable sharing right away. They really need a little personal hand-holding. And so I think the one-on-one relationship is extremely valuable for retention, for client retention, to make sure that the people that are subscribing continue to pay for their subscription and get value out of it, as well as, get value out of it on a personal level, like actually make progress. So I wanted to bring that up. Thanks.
That's so important. It's because I see when people subscribe and I see when people cancel. And we've had this huge influx of subscribers this past month, which is great. But we've also lost a lot of people. And I know there's like a natural come and go that can't be controlled, but it is really important to retain people, not just sign them up and then leave them.
Yeah, that's a really, oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this is what is different with us. You know, most of salespeople, they close a deal and then they are gone. But we are still with them, and we are going to be there for them, and you know, we are still their mentor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what my note said as well, like the last note that I still had, like establishing a true and lasting relationship is the challenge. And also not base it on illusions, base it on emptiness, base it on, yeah, now I have your money, goodbye.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the point though. So they sign up for coaching, you tell them about your coaching, you can say, you know, well, you know, I've found in my healing experience that this subscription is really the most economical way that you're going to get to where you want, right? Mm-hmm. And then you say, I have this offer. So it's like they are getting your coaching, but you're also giving them this enormous gift of, you know, hey, this is only $100 or $200 a month, and it's like getting unlimited healing classes, basically. Mm-hmm. So like that's what I really try to make a point with is that, you know, yes, A, I can coach them, but B, like TFAS is like kind of essential for all of my clients and for my own healing. So like if you're feeling like, you know, you're bait and switching, you're really not. It's just that you're bringing them to, you know, the bigger bait, I guess, in addition to your coaching, if that makes sense.
It does. Thanks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you are into like astrology a little bit, but there's a blood moon rising here. You know, really interesting event. Not sure why I said it, but it's powerful.
No, it's exciting. It's like the first time in a century.
Right.
It's like a special lunar event happening. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, my twin flame told that to me today, that there was a lunar eclipse. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a special one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said a blood moon, but you say a black moon.
It's like there's like so many different. It's like a really, really special one. It's like black blood something.
Okay, I will go outside.
It's apparently like new beginnings for everybody is what it's supposedly about.
Gives us a lot of sales power.
Yes, sales power. Ooh, that is meaningful.
Good. So I'm ready to wrap it up here. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, please ask us in the group, and we will be happily answering your questions. Thanks so much for being here and being a part of this wonderful community. Happy sales, happy days.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
so much.
Have a wonderful